You either do or you don't. You do what you say you've planned or you don't. There's no in between. There's no kind of, okay, I'm going to try this or, and then the trying hasn't even taken place. The doing hasn't taken place. Because again, if you look at it, you're just saying things, or we just say things to appease how we feel at that time. Because if we say, yeah, we're going to, gives us a good feeling, and then we get back down to normality, and then we realize we're just talking, So it has to get to a point where we either do or we don't. Anything we plan, we do it or we don't. I've spoken over the years and just spoken to different people, and I've had, moments of this, and it gets to a point where the sort of similar sort of reasoning and the similar sort of conclusions people come to, we all come to a similar conclusion onto some of the things that we do mentally that affect us. If we can speak from a scarce sometimes point of view, we can speak from a expansive abundance point of view. We use sometimes too much of what you can't do, as a hindrance. Oh, it's not something I can do. It's not something we can do. It's not something. And it's like, you have to get to a point. What truths are we actually saying, and what lies are we saying? We speak in ways where at the end of the day, it's hindering. It's hindering progress. It's hindering well-being. It's hindering wanting to do and wanting to be in a new position, in a new environment, and wanting to acquire something new, because at the end of the day, it's something that is needed. But for whatever reason, we are stuck on being in our heads and not doing, and getting to a point where we're in this limbo state. So it's as simple as doing. So the scenarios that sometimes we put in our head, perceptions of what we think someone is thinking, and it's irrelevant. It's that person or that persons that you're thinking of looking to help you. You've got to question that. So if they're not, irrelevant to think from a perception standpoint about someone else or something else. You can only think of what's possible and who's on board. Who's on board for the possibilities that you think are possible. That's it. Has to get to that point where we get out of our heads and start creating scenarios that don't exist, of things that we just want to prop up more than the things that we should be propping up, which is doing. Just the doing aspect. And I've realized this over time, realized this speaking to different people, and realizing that that's a scenario that we like to do, create a scenario. Have to get to that point where we're also not nitpicking on the details, nitpicking on how things look, the times, and when we think something should be, and nitpicking on the how. A lot of the time, it has to just get to a point of, I'm going to do it, and then learn on the way. Because nobody, I don't care who you are or who has done anything in this world, has just been able to get everything right on their first go. It has to be a trial and error process. It has to be, okay, this happened and I've learned this. Okay, I'm going to add this. This happened, I've learned this, I'm going to take this out. So the nitpicking is not something that is realistic. What's realistic is having attention to detail, but the aspect of nitpicking is not something that you can use to hold, a process up, to say, oh, there's something that's not finished, there's something that's not done. For the most part, have to go with what you've managed to do, especially if you're fulfilling certain criteria that you've fulfilled. If you fulfill certain criteria, get out of your head with the nitpicking aspects of things, because that's when you're now doing yourself, and we as humans can do ourselves a disservice. So it's another area of contention sometimes. And also having a viewpoint of the outcome, of how you think the outcome will be. You know, you don't know when an outcome will be of anything. We never know. We just know what we can do or what we should do, but we don't know an outcome. So having an ideal outcome is good. You can have that. But if it doesn't happen to that ideal way, you're going to feel away. So understanding outcomes will come, and understanding the process is the best way to get an outcome. But a particular outcome that you see in your head may not be the only way to look at things. And the only way you can let go of that is to just do the process. And the process is more enjoyable or more based around getting enough data to be able to have an outcome. And whatever outcome that will be, generally, it's a good outcome, whether it's a learning curve that you've gained from the outcome or it's an outcome that was totally different from what you envisioned. So that's another thing. Letting go of an outcome, but just doing the process for an outcome. And if the outcome turns out to be the one you thought of, good. But if not, guarantee you're going to learn something from that outcome. So we're just in this world to just keep it as simple as possible and to either do or don't, and to let go of that kind of mentality of what you think from a perspective of what is not possible. Only speak and think as much as you can. And this is a daily thing that you have to trigger. Think from a what is possible and either do or don't. Because I guarantee you, when you say you're going to do something, other people hear it and they even become bored of you saying you're going to do something. You even bore other people, you know? So you've got to get to a point where you're not fooling yourself and even sometimes boring yourself, and getting to a point where you're not where you want to mentally be, because a lot of this is all about the mental aspect. You know how it feels to not do what it is you want to do. And you know how it feels to do when you've done something that you want to do. So understand those are the aspects that we as humans have to wrestle with. What is in our mind and what we're actually doing, so we can actually have the right kind of fulfillment. So I will be interested to hear what people think. But for me, it's important. Keep your mind out of the negative thoughts that you are doing and think of only, mainly, what you need to do for whatever it is you're looking to do. And then you will see an outcome for exactly what makes sense for the outcome to be. But I like to hear what everyone else thinks. And yeah, let's keep that mind where it needs to be, focused on only what makes sense.